Hi YouTube, this is Detroit Allycat, and we're going to talk about living in the shadows, and we're going to talk about what that means. It's kind of deep. It has to do with true crime and paranormal and all the weird stuff. So if this appeals to you, come on, let's get spooky. It's up there, you can't see it. Anyway, if this is your first time to my channel, I'm Detroit Allycat, and I'm doing this like 30 days of YouTube. And I don't really want to make a video today, but I have to because I promised myself no matter if I was on my like best day or worst day, I would make content. So let's talk about living in the shadows. I do want to tell you I've only had 2 hours of sleep, and if you watched yesterday's video, you would know why. It was rough. Okay, so living in the shadows. First, I do everything true crime, paranormal, anything spooky. Please subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like. All that stuff helps my algorithm. And I've decided to go more organically with my channel. So my views are going to be pretty low and my likes are going to be pretty low. So all the help you can get me is appreciated. And the microphone, it's not hooked up. I can't do that today. I cannot. I'm just gonna cheat and do it on the phone. That's how I have to do it. I hope you don't mind. We came from an event. I got my tattoos hidden and everything. All right, so living in the shadows. My hair is a mess, guys. I'm sorry. Living in the shadows. What does that mean? Living in the shadows. So I do believe that there are some people that live in light, and then some people that live in dark. And you may think that that's silly, but I embrace the dark. Does that mean I'm a bad person? I'm gonna let you decide. So when you live in the shadows, I feel like those people can feel people's energy and experience some kind of like knowledge about people before, unnaturally almost, like when they're around other people, they can feel vibrations, they can experience, I don't know, is it telepathy, is it empathy? They're very good at knowing a person before that person even opens up and talks, or sometimes they will talk. And does that mean, like, what are you? Are you a witch? Are you spiritual? Are you a guru? Is it telepathy? Is it empathy, that word that everybody uses, and I just don't think people know what that means anymore? I want to be honest with you. Being able to feel people's emotions and feel their vibrations and living in the darkness is a trauma response, at least from my experience. And the reason I say that is because when somebody speaks loudly, somebody who's had trauma becomes afraid, even if they don't show it. If somebody goes to hit them, somebody who has trauma goes to flinch. I lived that way for a very long time. But one day you will experience an emotion that you will have to decide if you want to embrace or work to pretend that it's not there, and that is anger. And anger is one of those emotions that people judge it and they say it's bad. But here's the thing, I'm sorry. Anger is a very necessary emotion, and I live in anger. I do. I have a lot of anger. But if you ignore your anger, you cannot properly heal. And people who live in the darkness, they experience anger, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person. It's just warriors need anger to protect the weak. And that is actually a beautiful thing. So when I say I live in the darkness, like, I don't live like the happy dance in the sun life. Even though I do that, I prefer the shadows. I do. I prefer to not be seen. I prefer to not talk to people. I know you're never going to believe this, but I actually do not like to be in the spotlight. I like to hide. Even at my events, I'll hide. And I'm a fire breather. I do feel like I come alive when I start fire breathing, but like that's a spiritual thing. But I don't really like for people to see me. I'm going to do this in a 2-segment video because it uploads weird, so be back in a second. Also, I think that people that live in the darkness or the shadows, they can also confront things that other people that live in the light do not like to do, like true crime. There are some people that do not like to hear about true crime. It makes them sick. It makes them upset. If it's a child getting hurt, it just ruins their entire day. But I think that people that live in darkness stare at it. I know I stare at it. I stare at it all the time. I was honestly obsessed with death. And that is like something that is hard for me to talk about because it does scare people. But like, I was obsessed with watching the many different faces of death. Did you know that they made a whole like series called Faces of Death, and I used to go to it when I was a kid? And there's a whole conspiracy about that, and one day we should talk about that. But I like to see what happened. How did this person die? And there's even biological things that happen to a person that helps break down the mystery of how they died. You can bring justice to people. And I think morticians and people that do crime scenes, they live in the darkness too, but they're necessary. They are a necessary force. They have to deal with dead people all the time. They have to see things they don't want to see. Being someone who cuts open a dead body for a living is one of the most unnatural things ever. And they do it. They have to do it. And it's important. And they do it with such a degree of respect for the body and the people. And it's like a calling to be a mortician. I think that's fascinating. And have you ever actually met a mortician? My son, his friend, their whole family is a morticians, like, and they hand it down from son to son. And it was crazy because my dad died and we had his funeral here in town, and my son's friend's brother worked at that funeral home, and they talk a certain way, like they teach it at mortician school. They talk in this calming, relaxing way. They're taught to do this, and this boy did this to me, and I knew he was doing it when he did it, and I was so upset I didn't care. But what was interesting is when he leaves there, he just talks like a normal person. And I remember my son talking about that, and he said, oh yeah, he tells me the craziest stories. That blows my mind. So yes, I do believe that there are people that are put on this planet that are light workers or light people that dance in the light or live in the light, and there are dark people that live in the darkness. And I don't think it necessarily means that you're a bad person. I think that there are good and bad people in the light, and there are good and bad people in the dark. And I don't know what kind of spirituality this is. I was very pagan for a while, and I still am, but ever since my father passed away, I've like shied away from that. Like, I'm starting to come back into it because like you get angry at the forces that make you live your life and face your life, and you don't want to believe in a higher power, because how could a higher power cause all this suffering, if that makes sense? And yeah, I just thought that would be an interesting thing to talk about. I had like all these like points that I was gonna put out, but honestly, I really kind of want to know what you think about dancing in the darkness or dancing in the light. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Do you have experience with it? Do you feel that way? Are you in the darkness with me? If you understand what I'm talking about, do you like to hide in the shadows? Is that where you feel safe? I know some people are going to be like, this girl is ridiculous. And, you know, not that I want to knock anybody, but I believe that the right people with the right ability to think about stuff like this, to open their mind to the possibility of living in the darkness and the lightness and like your brain and all that, the right people will hear what I'm talking about and understand. And that really is why I do a lot of the things I do. I rescue dogs, which requires you to cook. Can you hear them? You can, because this hasn't got the microphone. I rescue dogs, which requires you to face darkness. I study true crime, which requires you to face darkness. Even the way I look, you can tell that I'm part of the darkness. Like, that's just me. But I'm also like, a really kind person and somebody that can understand suffering and be there for people that have suffered. That is a husky that I rescued, just so you know. And also, I just want to tell you that I have this whole reels, and I just want to say that I am going to dive into more true crime, and my reels are all animals and happy stuff. So think of that as like your own personal therapy dog. If you feel stressed out because you see something or watch my videos and think, oh my gosh, I just can't, or you're upset by something, they're about to go out. Go watch my reels and watch the therapy dogs. Now, I know some of you guys can't adopt a bunch of dogs, so I've adopted them for you, and you can watch them and they can help you. And remember, the next time that you see somebody that looks like me and has tattoos and looks like they live in the darkness, now you don't have to be afraid. Or maybe you're in the darkness with me. I hope that this was an enlightening video. I'm very loopy because of 2 hours of sleep, and I'm not going to ramble on anymore. Stay safe, stay spooky. Thanks for coming to my channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Bye.